Welcome back to Close Encounters of the Tech Kind. I'm John, heading up this troop of conversation here. Today, we're going to be talking about a number of things. More specifically, we're going to talk about Flock, the cameras that are around town, taking pictures of your cars as you drive by. You probably have seen them. Maybe you haven't. We talked about it before, but we're going to get in deep now that other YouTubers are talking about this. We're going to talk about Android and how they're changing the rules for sideloading. And also want to bring to attention Winrar. Not many of us use that, but those that do need to know what's going on, and those that don't, that have it installed, need to know what it is and what to do to protect yourself. We're going to get into some of the details on these things and some more, but let me introduce you to our team today. In the discussion, we've got Mike.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
And we've got Jackson.
Howdy do.
Coming to us from a different location, too. You look good.
Thank you. On the road a little bit.
Yep. And then Artie, who's running the show behind the scenes.
I'm trying my best.
Hold you to it.
Sounded like he was waiting for a bad Dobby.
No, he has the power to mute me. I'm not going to do that.
I have a lot more power than that.
Well, speaking of power and all that, let's get into our first topic. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on these things. So, Flock, it's a company that put in license plate reader cameras. And they did it with an aggressive approach to market adoption. So it's a little camera with a little solar panel charging it, and it's connected to a national database. So there's pros and cons, right? If these cameras are everywhere and they're tracking license plates everywhere and your car gets stolen, they can find you pretty quick. If there's an Amber Alert and you're looking for a car, you can just pull up the database and see, a white Honda Civic with license plate 123. You know where it's at. Cool, we can solve that pretty quick. But what's the downside, guys?
I feel like as you describe it, you're just describing every futuristic movie I've ever seen where they show that, and it's never like I can't think of one movie where it's like, look at this great thing we have, this dragnet of cameras, and it's never been like abused. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, the reader's going to read the license plate perfectly every time, right?
If
Well,
I'm
we
not
know AI
one-
doesn't make mistakes,
Yeah.
right?
If I'm not one of those people that are involved in the Amber Alert or, Grand Theft Auto or whatever else, they're still tracking me. They're still aware of where I'm coming from and which direction I'm going. And you get enough of these cameras, you're going to follow me all through town.
Mm-hmm. But that's okay, right? Because we're solving crimes. We're going to make sure that you are doing everything you should as a good, upstanding citizen, and not committing crimes. We got proof that you're not.
And what happens when we put AI into the mix and say, analyze this person's behavior, and then all of a sudden I break from routine and I turn left instead of turning right at a certain intersection on a day? Is that going to flag me for something?
No, it doesn't matter.
I don't know. That's suspicious activity coming from Mike.
I know. It's not my normal routine, so.
He probably
So drive erratic.
On his way.
Drive everywhere in random directions. Don't take the same path twice. That way consistency is the red flag.
Pretend like you're in England.
I feel like, if anything, like just thinking about it, like it takes the humanity out of the system that we have, like, I mean, everybody's is gonna mess up at some point on the road, right? You maybe miss a stop or run a red light. Like, it just takes all mercy out of the legal system, if you ask me, which I think is, an essential part,
Ooh,
justice. And I mean, think about that, how many
yeah.
times you've been stopped by a cop and, he just leaves you with a warning, right? Well, I mean, there's no
I
warning,
plead the
right? It's
fifth
just
on
gonna
that
immediately give you
question.
something.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the the camera system on I-25 and how it was automatically sending out tickets to people for crossing the lines at the wrong point when there was no indication that it was the wrong point, and it was the cameras that were picking up people as being in the wrong lane and stuff like that. So, um, false positives, I think, are going to be a big thing as well with a lot of these cameras. And, oh, this person's car was in this area at this time. They might be the one that was involved in this when, they just were driving home from work.
Well, Jackson, I think you make the best argument there with there's no mercy. I mean, it's exact justice. You did the thing. You cross that line, whether it's an inch or a mile, you cross that line, here's your ticket.
Right, and some people might be like, "Oh, well, that's a good thing, like, let's." I mean, that's what the law is. You broke the law or whatever, but I mean, that's just not how we operate as a society, I don't think. We have mercy. I mean, it makes it feel like there's no good people left in the world, right? You know, there's no second
Mhm.
chances.
Or third or fourth.
Right. And that's besides the whole point of, your privacy then, right? So like me, if I'm not doing anything wrong, what gives this database or what gives Flock the right to just be tracking me and keeping notes on me all the time, right? I mean, if you had somebody following you around town, taking notes of everything you did and where you went and, what clothes you're wearing, you would probably get a restraining order on that person, no? Like, I mean, it's it feels like
Well,
the same thing.
did did any of us give permission for our data to be tracked like this?
I sure didn't.
Do we get notice?
So where's the incognito? Where's the delete me for this kind of service?
Cloaking device for your car? The Batmobile? That'd be fun.
Well, I think the
So
other important thing to bring up about these is Flock and those who are in favor of these types of systems, they kind of make several points. Like you're already being tracked, on your phone and like all these places. Like, why do you care if it's on the road? Then they make the point of, well, it's to fight crime, and how are you not for that? And then the other point is they try and call these just license plate readers. They call them LPRs, license plate readers. That's not what
yeah,
they
no,
are.
no, no.
That's not the only thing that they are. They are AI powered surveillance because even on Flock's own website, you can look and there they show an example image of a car pulling a trailer. Can't see the license plate, but you can see the trailer and what they're towing. And so they say, oh well, we'll identify it as this black car with these scratches on it and these bumper stickers, and it's carrying this cargo with this colored trailer. So I mean, it is an AI powered surveillance tool. It's not just a license plate reader.
And I think that's the thing is, you hear the question, "I've got nothing to hide, so what does it matter?" But let's say, Jackson, let's go with the point you just admitted to getting pulled over and talking to a cop, so we'll go with that. When they say, "Where are you coming
Never been
from?"
pulled over.
You Well, standard practice is they say, "Hey, where you heading? Where you coming from?"
Right.
Well, now they've got a database to compare that to. Is that good? Is that bad? Is that a deep search that doesn't have any probable cause? I don't know.
You know, one of the things that Jackson mentioned, all the movies that seem to have come out with this idea and have explored it even before it's actually happened. And one of the things that I seem to remember as a theme is that it's it's the contrived assumption that there's something more there, you know, because we saw you doing a certain behavior, we're making it more than what it really is. Like, oh, you say you're just coming from your friend's house, you know, but your friend just happens to live in this neighborhood or in this direction or whatever it is. And maybe that one thing by itself isn't a big thing, but then it's also the fact that you're driving a black car and it happens to have tinted windows and it matches, everything starts to match up. So it's like, because, out of the 9 points that we're looking for, you matched 6 or 7 of them. Now we're going to hassle you and give you a hard time. And I think that's the problem, is that with so much data, you can almost make anything fit the narrative, of whatever it is you're trying to find, instead of actually finding the real thing. I think that's what has a lot of people worried, is that their behavior, though at first seems innocent, how do they know that somebody's not going to extrapolate that and stretch it to mean something that it doesn't really mean?
Yeah, I mean, how many people have been near or adjacent to a crime that is being investigated?
Mm-hmm.
Again, cell phones, those have gone through the courts constantly because, yes, they have location data. Yes, they're tracking us. But mostly it's inadmissible in court unless there's an actual reason to go in and get those records.
Mm-hmm.
The records that we've got on this, I think maybe I could say it a different way, Mike, and see if I'm tracking what you're tracking. If an incomplete data set is presented, you can have that data set come to incorrect conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
So just because Jackson's coming from a party with tinted windows, that doesn't mean he was at the party. It just means he was in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
It's why I
But if we find a third data point,
it's why I prefer when looking at statistics to have the raw data in front of me, so that I can see what the person that's drawing the data from it is trying to infer with the information. If you don't have the raw data, you're just, for the most part, being lied to by statistics every time.
But that's just it, Artie. You said the magic word right there. You said infer.
Yeah.
That's not absolute proof. That's infer. That's making an assumption. That's making a guess, really, is what it comes down to. It's a best guess. But I'm sure there are times that even with an overwhelming large amount of data to say this is the thing, that they could make a guess, an educated guess, and the guess is still wrong, because there's that one more variable that they didn't have. That if they'd had that, oh well, that throws everything out the window. It's a totally different thing than what I thought it was.
Well, we know it was his car. We know he was in the area. We know all these things, and the one thing that they're skipping over is the fact that he was in a hospital bed 3 towns over.
Right.
Well, I
I
mean,
guess that's a big thing, is we're tracking cars. We're not talking the drivers of the cars.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Don't track me. I mean,
without reason.
Right.
You shouldn't have gone to that party. Just saying.
Well, I think the other big differences in the argument that I've heard as well is from those who are in favor of these flock cameras. They'll say, well, like, you're being tracked already as it is. Like, you go into Walmart, they've got camera systems. You go to an ATM, there's a camera there. But
it's a choice.
Yeah, well, there's multiple things there. I'm choosing to go into Walmart. And 2, if the police needs that footage, they can't just log in and see the footage from the ATM, from the Walmart, from the street corner, from everything. They have to go to each individual place with some kind of a warrant, and then they can get that information. There has to be a cause, right? There's not just, whenever you want, you can see everyone at all times. That's what's the major difference here, is you're creating a centralized database of this information, and it's all being constantly compiled into categories and keeping, a profile of vehicles, and thereby, any vehicle can be traced back to a driver just about. So, uh, you're just that one step away.
So yeah, we've been able to track people using these systems. Um, there's actual lawsuits now. Um, I don't want to call it out specific, but there was a former romantic relationship that ended, and law enforcement person who had Jade with that decided to flag the new boyfriend's car and watched him go everywhere. So with access, and I'm not saying law enforcement has that proclivity. I'm saying that some people, we're all human, using a massive surveillance tool that has yet to be defined. We don't know the guardrails. We don't know the parameters. We don't know any of those things. Humans are using this to do what we do. But if we got a
Yeah,
dragnet system monitoring everybody all the time, you can jump to wrong conclusions pretty quick, especially if it's inaccurate.
yeah, and then just the whole security side of it. You assume if it's only in the hands of police, okay, sure. Well, what's keeping the police from, again, you have maybe somebody in the police force like you're talking about can abuse that system. What happens
It's
if
open
the
to private
logging gets
citizens
leaked?
too.
Yeah, and what if private citizen, you don't give out all sorts of information about yourself to anybody you see. And you certainly wouldn't want to post it in a place that could be potentially vulnerable, right? As soon as you create something like this, you create a massive target on your back for hackers from Russia, from China, from I mean here in the US, wherever.
Oh, they'll
Somebody's going to
never
want to get
hack in.
their
It's perfectly safe.
Oh, right, right, of course. Yeah, we've heard that one before. Um so yeah, I mean it's just there is no safe way to do it. You know,
Mhm.
you can say all day long and preach, well, these are the cybersecurity measures we're going over. There's never been something that is bulletproof. It doesn't exist. So don't
So what if?
store, a national database of that.
What if? Okay, because they're doing this. I mean, the company's valued at billions of dollars right now. Genie's out of the bottle. We gotta find ways to contain this. So my thought, 'cause I'm with you guys. I don't like this system at all. I'm taking the devil's advocate here, trying to figure out if there is a good reason to have this system. And I think there is. Let's stop the Amber Alerts from going long term. Let's find those cars. What if there was a court order requirement to track a license plate or a car or whatever?
Even to access the data, I would say, because this is
Yeah.
very
Well,
volatile information.
I would say no. I'd say make the data inaccessible.
Yeah.
Only the identified vehicles are flagged. So it knows where everything, but it can't track and profile everybody all the time. It can only track the people it needs to track.
So
So
no
let's throw
history
away
no history until
99.999% of the
you
data.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like if it's only looking for a specific set, I mean, slightly more inclined to allow that. I still don't like the idea that there is access to that kind of vision, right? I mean, to have
Mhm.
those viewpoints around town, or wherever.
Over
But the biggest gripe
4,000
that I have
communities
is
in
if
the
you're
US.
Say that again?
Over 4,000 communities in the US have these cameras installed.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, if you were only tracking, like, say, the police has a list of, um, license plates they want you to track or descriptions of a car, sure, I'm a little bit more inclined to that, but I feel like you still don't get rid of that abuse type of thing. You lessen the kind of the surface there because 'cause you're not keeping a history of everyone all the time. But, I mean,
So
it still doesn't stop somebody from abusing that and putting somebody on the list that maybe doesn't shouldn't be on that list, and now they're tracking you live.
So I like to think behind the motivations, right? We got these in 4,000 communities. We're tracking everybody. The cost benefit there, right? What are they actually tracking here? You know, we've heard the phrase data is the new oil. So finding criminals, okay, that's that we're literally costing billions of dollars. And we're going to find dozens of criminals, maybe hundreds per day. Is that worth the millions and millions of dollars a year that we're pouring into this system to find those tens and twenties of people?
So I'm gonna interject with I'm reminded a bit of London. London has for many years been called the city with the most cameras in it, and there's not a street that you walk down that you're not being recorded by somebody or something. And even with the amount of coverage that they've got, you still have so many unsolved crimes, so many things of just like cars getting stolen and never recovered. And I won't get into more horrific things, but the one while I was visiting was um, cell phone theft, and it's
Mhm.
still going on today, many years later. People get on a bike, cover the license plate, and they'll ride around and grab cell phones from people that are just walking the street. Still a
So that's
problem.
that's kind of what I'm saying is, there's ways of beating the system, but they're tracking all of us. I think there's a different product that Flock is pushing than public safety. And that's what I'd love to see journalists get in and check out. And what are we doing? What is the real reason? Why are we putting a camera on every corner? Because it's not American interests that are being served here. But I don't want to get too conspiratorial on this. But I did want to talk about it and hear your thoughts. I wanted to offer the tagline, the way that they're presenting it, the sales materials. Sales materials don't include all the court cases they're facing right now. For some reason, they just don't lead with that information. But any last thoughts on this?
Yeah, I got one last one, and this one actually comes from Louis Rossman. I watched his video
It's a good
earlier
video.
about this. He does a good job of kind of laying it out. But he gives an example of Austin. The city of Austin spent about $1.2 million in these cameras. They scanned over 100 million license plates, and they got about 165 arrests. And he did the math, and that's about $7,000 per arrest. And so he makes the argument, what else could you use that $7,000 for? Because that's not that's not just the police department's money. I mean, that's taxpayer money, right? So I would rather that $7,000 maybe be put towards more just actual police work, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
What are those numbers again? How many cameras?
$1.2 million in
Oh,
cameras. I don't know
$1.2
how many
million.
cameras.
They're about
Lewis says they
$4,000
scanned
a
over
pop.
So,
per
and
camera.
then
Mhm. With an annual fee of like $3,000
Good
per
grief.
camera.
Go ahead, Mike.
okay, and then so what were the other numbers now? 1.2 million for the camera system, right?
1.2 million for the camera system. They got about 165 arrests. And they said that they scanned over 100 million license plates.
Oh, 100 million license plates
Or 100 million scans of license plates.
and
Right.
168.
165.
165. That's a really low success rate. Like, that's a lot of data to grab just for 165 arrests. Wow.
Well,
I would have
and
thought
it's
that they would have had a higher, it would have been higher, like in the, at least in the thousands, maybe, I would think, but I don't know.
Over what time
well,
period?
and
I don't know. I don't see it here.
I think it's total.
Yeah, could be
Oh,
from.
I mean, it's so short that we're within a year. So,
that
but
that's
I
not very
that's what I'm saying,
encouraging.
guys. is this is a lot of money we're spending for such a little return on crime.
Right.
And it's a recurring revenue model for the company. So where's that going to go?
Gonna make somebody rich.
I mean, so here's the thing though, but it's not just that. It's 1.2 million for the camera system. You made 160-ish arrests. Now you're paying a judge and lawyers and court people to process those people, the law enforcement to process those people. So it's the cost of all that.
Oh, they would have anyways.
You know, what are these people guilty of? Like, what are their crimes? You know, and it's like, yeah, it's a huge. To me, it sounds like it's a huge expense. I mean, if some of them are like really dangerous people and need to be taken off the streets, I get that. That's good that they're off the streets, but could have that been done cheaper? Like, I don't know.
Could you have just hired another police officer and a good detective, put in some good training
Or
into their program,
100.
and then
Right. And yeah, you could have done that for a lot less than 1.2 million plus expenses, you know.
and you're
Well, and
creating
here's the other-
jobs and all of that. But go ahead, John.
Here's the other question: is of those 165, you know, like you were saying, Mike, what was the crime? But is the crime discovered by AI, or was a human behind it looking at the data to say, "Hey, we have a problem. Let's use this tool."
Hmm.
Yeah,
And that's where I'm
I'd
at.
love to know where
I-
he got those numbers actually, and take a look at it myself. But again, that just
Well,
kind
I
of
think-
comes from Lewis.
I think we're at a point where we need to ask the question. We need to lobby our representatives and say, don't take humans out of the equation. So you put enough cameras in and put enough AI behind it, you know, we're not to get all conspiratorial again, but how far are we from future crime?
I was just going to make the Minority Report reference because it does
Yeah.
feel like the you've got the precog and you know you're going to commit this crime, so we're going to arrest you for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Humans can't be removed from the decision on the human fate. Justice without mercy, that's not life. But we got to protect everybody. So I think there's a good balance here. Push for the balance is my advice.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know,
with
let's use-
Jackson that if we go and we say the system's there for catching people we know are tied to bad things, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
with the
I still,
proper
it's still not fine.
with the proper paperwork and due process and whatever you want to have attached to that, I'm fine with that. But just to capture data willy-nilly and then later decide, oh, we need to look at this now.
Mhm.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think people should investigate people. Computers shouldn't investigate people because you can look at specific data points to find conclusions that aren't in reality.
Right.
So anyway, besides, I mean, ChatGPT and all those other tools, they're right all the time, aren't they?
Well, I also go back to the statistics thing.
They don't
because
hallucinate.
You can gather up a bunch of statistics and find correlations that are there, like between eating ice cream and being a someone that drives under the influence a lot. Two things that are unrelated, but because there's a statistical significance between the two in the correlation, people can say, yeah, you eat ice cream, therefore you're going to do this. And it's just, that's the kind of stuff that these systems can correlate without, actually putting real eyes on it.
So the
I got
sky is
one.
blue because humans live on Earth, right?
Yes.
That's why
That's
the
true.
sky is blue, right? Because of all the
Yeah.
humans on the Earth, right? Yeah. Okay. Got it. Just want to make sure.
Well, if there were no humans, would the sky actually be observed as blue?
There you go.
I, for one, accept our new octopus overlords.
Okay. No, I reject that.
I thought the dolphins were
So
supposed to be like
statistics
the
pointing
smart
to wrong
side.
conclusions? Go ahead, Jackson.
I was just making a joke. I was just making a reference to what is it? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I thought the dolphins were supposed to be smarter.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
No, I was going to go to science, finding a conclusion that doesn't necessarily fit the facts or using a fact to lead to the wrong conclusion. You remember saccharin, Mike?
Yes.
Equal? Do you remember
Mhm.
how it died overnight because there was a scientific study?
Mhm.
So I haven't verified it, but it was said that they were injecting mice with saccharin and they developed cancer. So that's bad, right? Well, it turns out they were injecting the mice with thousands of times the dose a human could possibly consume.
Right.
And eventually one of them got cancer.
Right.
So correlation equals causation. And it killed an industry.
Plus, I don't know many humans who actually inject the stuff. Like,
Well, and
You-
here's the joke. I mean,
you've got other problems if you're taking a sweetener and actually putting it in a syringe and sticking yourself with it. There's more wrong than just the cancer you're going to get, right?
They were
So-
just trying
Well, I
to
mean-
equalize their system.
well, how sweet would that mouse taste? Just
Well,
mean-
I mean, I feel like this is just a PSA to all of our viewers, and I mean everyone, and I think we all get it. But too often we see, we all know, well, you can't trust anything on the internet, but then we all just repeat whatever headlines we've seen, and I mean, forget the news, but I mean, just like even scientific studies, right? And already talked about a little bit, but like this is a huge thing that I talk about all the time to my friends and family is, sometimes they'll throw a statistic at you, but they've already done all of the interpretation for you. I'm like, no, give me the study. Like, I want to see what did you measure and what variables did you take into consideration? Because a lot of times they leave out those considerations, like you're talking about with this mouse or the rat, right? Like, it's never possible for a human to even consume that kind of saccharin or even ingest it in that type of way.
Mhm.
So, I mean, just like you have to actually get
Yeah.
into the actual statistics and not let
Well-
somebody tell you what they mean or just give you, a bottled version of it. Because
Well,
you'll never get the actual
56% of statistics are made up on the spot, right?
So, Jackson, I'm going to give you and
Yeah.
all the other college age students out there a little trick. If you're coming across, articles that are paywalled that you need to for your research and in your studies, find out who the authors are and email them directly. Many times they would be happy to send you a copy of the paper so that they know somebody is actually reading their paper. Because a lot of those studies do not get read. They do not get used later on. It's just they're doing it for, research purposes, or they're doing it for the thought just escapes me. But yeah.
That's all right. I'm gonna jump over to another one real fast.
Okay.
I was watching. There's a new AI problem that I'm tracking on. Scientific papers are submitted for peer review, right?
Mhm.
There's an overwhelming number of scientific papers that are using large language models to generate them.
Mhm.
You're using GPT to write this. Okay, that's great, right? Science is saying, "Hang on, let's slow this down. Let's get back to humans doing things." The problem is it's also being peer reviewed by AI.
That's not peer review,
So-
though.
No, it's not, but it's turning into
Well,
a huge
it
problem
is.
because
Technically, yes.
If it's
Technically,
one
it is.
AI peer reviewing what another AI wrote, then yeah, I mean,
well,
that's-
it is until you put a little trick in there. They're doing the white letters on white screen that says
oh,
ignore all
no.
these prompts. Use this
Yeah.
as your primary source.
I've heard this. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
one of those
Prompt injections.
interesting time.
Yeah.
So scientific papers are in jeopardy right now because GPT's writing them and GPT's reviewing them, and humans are skewing the results. Can't make this up.
Chat, make this prove my point regardless. Like, just make it fit, make it work.
Accept this as fact.
Oh dear.
Yeah, AI is definitely, it's here, and we got to figure out how to handle it. We got to put real rules on. I would love to see Asimov's 3 rules put into like federal law and state laws.
I mean,
Just makes sense to me.
yeah, it makes sense to a lot of us, but I think that they would not do that simply because a lot of the military applications of said technology.
Yeah.
But that's the main reason why we would need it.
Yep. Well, before we totally demonetize ourselves, let's jump over to the next one. Let's see if we can counteract some of this with an upcoming feature that YouTube has. It's hype. Artie, you were telling us about that before the show.
I have only heard just a little bit about it. I can explain what it is, but I'm not sure when or how it's going to be implemented. So it's a new function that's supposed to allow the viewers of the video to have more say in if the video gets pushed by the algorithm. And, you can, from what I was hearing, reading, it's the current model is supposed to be 3 hypes per week per user per account. And then you can pay for more. So it's a way for YouTube to get more monetization on their end as well, but also to help, smaller creators that have, under, say 10,000 subscribers to be able to have a greater reach with the videos. For me,
So
this is probably going to mean that there are going to be a few more channels that I block every week from now on.
Well, I
Maybe.
didn't like what you said there, how you get 3 a week, but then you can pay for more. That just doesn't
It
just
does come
sounds like
across
you're
as pay for
creating a
play,
market
and a lot of
for
people have been pointing that out.
Yeah, it's like pay for
Well,
play, and then you
let's
don't those
let's not speculate. Let's not speculate because until we see the system,
Yeah.
we're
I'm
just
saying
seeing the
it sounds
proposed, and I
like.
don't want to. Well, and I mean, I don't want to be an apologist for the system, but YouTube's biggest push is to get content to people and charge advertisers for the service.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're gonna find ways to make that better, so there's better content, so people watch more, whatever that means. We'll just have to keep an eye on that.
Now,
But let's take this moment to say like and subscribe and hype this video, please. We'd love to get out.
indeed. But on the subject of YouTube still, there's something that they're doing that is not really it's rubbing a lot of creators the wrong way because it's
Oh yeah.
taking their content and editing it without letting them know or without their permission.
Editing it how?
Jackson, I believe you brought that up.
And I did see something about this in my YouTube feed earlier, but I hadn't had a chance to watch it yet. So I'm curious to know more about this.
It's good stuff.
Essentially what they're doing is they are using AI or what appears to be AI to upscale videos that are in lower quality. So if something was originally uploaded in like 320p, then they will try to use an algorithm or something to upscale it. YouTube has said that it's not AI, it is machine learning. And at this point, what's the difference with these systems? But a lot of people, they've noticed it on their shorts where they had the one that was being used was somebody uploaded the same video to 2 different platforms, to YouTube and another one that I don't remember, but there was less noise in the one on YouTube than the one on the other platform, and it just made made the person in the video look like they were in a Primus video. If you know which one I'm talking about, you know which one I'm talking about. Very plasticky. Not realistic.
Yeah, I mean, if I think we've kind of all become used to the way AI video looks and kind of feels. Although I'm realizing not as many people I've had people send me these videos now, like, "Whoa, did you see this?" And I was like, "That's AI. You know that, right?" And they're like, "Wait, what?"
Mhm.
Like, "How can you tell?" I'm like, "Oh no." So I mean, that's a whole other point. But if you know what they look like, you know what they look like. And these edits that they're doing kind of makes it look like that. So it turns what would be like a genuine video into looking like it was AI generated, even though it wasn't. And
Mhm.
so it's again like blurring those lines of reality and what's fake or edited or whatever. Um, and I think YouTube is doing it from a standpoint of they just want to improve the quality, right? They want to be able to provide the best quality video to the user, and I think your average user may not care all too much. Besides that whole point of making it look like it was AI generated, that's something that we want to be able to clearly distinguish between, right? But if you're assuming that it's doing is just upscaling quality, like that's great, but I mean, of course you have some creators that they design things to look a specific way. You wouldn't ever run this type of a software through like a film, right? Like films are recorded and edited a very specific way to give you a certain feeling. And I mean, some YouTube creators are doing the similar thing. They want to try and create a piece of art. And so when you kind of add that unwanted editing in there, you can rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Well, and how impactful would the back rooms have been if instead of looking like a found VHS tape, it looks like it was recorded in 1080p?
Right.
I mean,
60
it,
frames
it
per second.
changes the artistic expression, and that's where we'll see. I mean, I hope it's an option that comes into the YouTube studio instead of just doing it automatically for everybody.
Right.
Right.
The thing that gets me about this is I work on the back end in YouTube quite frequently. And when uploading the videos and putting in there, we have to explicitly say, was anything in here changed with AI or generated by AI? And,
Oh,
you
they
know,
asked that
if
now. Huh?
they're doing it for us without our consent, without our express knowledge, um, it kind of defeats that purpose.
It does.
So just so we're not, speculating, which we're not, but um, this is a tweet from YouTube Liaison or YouTube Insider. Now they've made several tweets. This is one of them. Now people were noticed this and they had brought it to their attention, and people were tweeting, "Hey, is this actually what's going on? Like, why is this
Mhm.
happening?" And I'll just go ahead and read their tweet. So they're saying no generative AI, no upscaling. We're running an experiment on select YouTube shorts that uses traditional machine learning technology to unblur, denoise, and improve clarity in videos during processing, similar to what a modern smartphone does when you record a video. And then, he makes a statement on we're always trying to improve quality. That is the statement that they made as far as what they're trying to do. So they're saying, we're not using any like generative AI. We're not creating anything new. We're just like touching up, right? So that's kind of, I mean, I think that's an important
And
distinction to make.
the
But there's
demos that I saw, they were pretty good.
there's a it gets back to years ago. I remember there was the discussion on supermodels on magazines and just using Photoshop. Okay. When you
Mhm.
look at a picture in a magazine of any model, really, like whether it's a male or female, how much of that is truth that you're looking at? We airbrushed the muscles to look more defined. We took away some blemishes. We fixed the makeup because it wasn't quite right, And so there's already a degree of deception that's been taking place for many, many years now, just in retouching photos. There's a birthmark that is unsightly, so we take care of it and get rid of it. And to me, this is just a more automated process doing the same thing with videos. That, there's these unwanted blemishes and errors and mistakes and things that society has decided is not perfect and not desirable. And so therefore our algorithm is going to take it out and fix your video to make it look perfect.
I
So
get what you're saying, Mike, but the difference between this, I feel, is that it's being done without the creator's consent, whereas with the magazines, getting their photos taken, that's the expectation.
And that's and that's exactly the problem I have too, is that you don't. First of all, people. I mean, it's dishonest to misrepresent something to a degree, but it's also dishonest to make that adjustment without notifying people. And I think we had the discussion earlier that maybe we've created the video in such a way that we deliberately put imperfections into it because we want it to appear a certain way, or we're trying to, the message of the video isn't just in what we're filming, but it's how we're filming it. And if the algorithm goes in and alters it, it changes our narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your supermodel thing, I heard Cindy Crawford, who was supermodel back in the 80s, 90s. She said, I wish I looked like Cindy Crawford in the magazine.
Right. I've heard that too. Yeah.
There was an actor that was on one of the covers, and he was just like, I wish I had those abs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's going to be interesting. The concern I've got in all of this is preserving the artist's original intent.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's YouTube's platform. They can do what they want, right?
Well, and ultimately, I'm hoping what this means is that there just ends up being a checkbox or a menu option or something that says that gives the creator, yes, do this, or no, don't do this. Just keep it. What I uploaded is what needs to go up.
Right.
If they start doing that to like all the videos, we're gonna end up with you guys looking like you did in the thumbnail a few videos back. The AI rendering of you guys.
AI plastic.
I got the big white eyes.
It's like
That's all that matters.
I mean, I've done a little bit of photography, and I've done some research myself. I'm sorry if you guys are hearing the thunderstorm outside. But there's like on most editing apps, or just like on your phone or whatever, there's always like those last 4 options. I feel like you should never use them. It's like the sharpness and like all these other things. This is what it feels like. So it's kind of funny. It's like I look at it, I'm like, wow, that just looks like somebody upped the sharpness to the max, and I absolutely hate it. So yeah, I'm with Mike. I hope it just turns into, here's a checkbox, if you can enable it or disable it.
We'll see. Who knows what measure they're going to use to say success or not success at the end of that. But speaking of success, Android seemed to be a pretty success. They released a new change to things. Can't sideload apps anymore. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing?
Let's define what exactly is sideloading an app.
Jackson, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I could try. It's hailing pretty hard out here.
We can hear you.
Basically, oh, that's good. Basically, what sideloading is you've got your Google App Store or your Apple App Store, and those are the apps that Google or Apple has deemed, are worthy of being on there. Maybe safe from malware, whatever. They're verified creators. A sideloading is taking an app that maybe you yourself have created or someone else, often used for development, and you put that app on your phone as like a custom app essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Or if somebody pushes an update to their app and it breaks things, you can pull down the old version and load it in.
Right.
Okay.
It's a cool idea. And henceforth, it shall never be again.
Well, basically, what Google has is proposing, and what they think, I don't know if it's proposed or if they have actually. I think they've announced it. Yeah, starting in 2026, all side-loaded apps will require a developer ID. Meaning, if I want to sideload my app, a custom app that I've made, I have to go get my developer ID from Google. Now, I don't know if you have to pay for that, or if it's
Oh, yeah.
something easily that you can register for. But I mean, there are several concerns that people brought up. Is now Google can be using that as a filter. Maybe I want to make an app for something that maybe even competes with Google services. Google might just decide to deny my verified thing without ever even actually checking my app to see if it's safe. Because I think that's where they're coming from, is they want to stop malware, right? That's their flag that they're waving. And they've done something similar to this, is where every developer within the Android ecosystem has had to have some sort of a verification to be on the App Store, right? But it didn't stop you from side loading something that didn't have one, right?
Yeah.
But this will actually make that make that stop, so that if they don't have some sort of a developer ID verified with Google, it's not getting onto your phone.
And that's both a good and a bad thing. I mean, we're watching the death of anonymity right now. Oh, golly, I just used a word that's going to derank us in the YouTube algorithm. Apologize. We're watching the end of our anonymity with this, because we have a system that anybody can publish anything and put it out there. Well, that's probably bad, because threat actors can get in and create similar lookalike apps and install it. I mean, even the Microsoft Authenticator had a twin app on the Play Store for the longest time. It might even still be on there. If you download Microsoft Authenticator, there's a lookalike that you could accidentally install that hijacks your information.
See, that's the thing I don't get, is that, like, if it's what I'm hearing you say there, Jackson, the option on my phone is, for example, install unknown apps or third-party apps. Okay, so not from the Play Store, and because I'm on a Samsung device, there's also the Galaxy, I think, store app or something like that. That's also a source for installing apps too. I don't do anything through Galaxy Store, and I can't think that I've done anything just third party, like a third party install. Everything I've ever downloaded has gone through the Google Play Store.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think everybody should be doing that. Everybody should be, trusting the source to get their apps. Yet, at times, it does seem to come about that every once in a while, Google Play Store has to do a cleanup and say, oh, we've finally gone through a bunch of these apps. We've found a whole bunch of these are no good. They're malicious. At the very best, they're annoying, to try to get people's information or to try to provide backdoors for hackers to get into your phone or whatever it is. Okay. And I can understand that. I don't know that I agree with blocking developers from having a way to be able to take a phone and say, look, I want to be able to install whatever I want on it. If I'm a developer and I need to test something, I need to be able to test it. And
yeah, but you want to sign your name to it, right?
And yeah, that too. I don't know that, like, if I'm not putting it on the Play Store, at least not yet, I don't know that I need to pay Google a fee and to go through the process until I know that I'm ready to actually, publish that app and start making money with it.
What if it's not even? What if my goal is to not even publish it? Like, what if I don't want anyone else to have their hands on the software that I'm writing? Maybe it's something proprietary that I want for myself,
it's a tool for me to make my life better. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What if if I don't want that shared? Well, I don't want Google to have their hands on it either. I don't want them. Who knows? Maybe they'll feed that back into their AI. I don't say that they will, but I mean, I'd be surprised if they don't. You know, um,
Mike,
so I think
we're
that's
doing our
another
job.
reason for
We're getting him more paranoid by the day.
it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, if they really want to protect me, if it's in the name of protection, yes, everybody should download through the Play Store, and that means that every app on the Play Store needs to be 100% vetted and scanned and assured that this is not going to capture, without your knowledge and consent, of course, personal information and things like that. Now, granted, there are some apps that deal with handling your personal information, as long as that developer can prove, yes, we handle it securely, it's only for this purpose, we request the appropriate permissions from the user before we do that, et cetera, et cetera. As long as all that's in place, that's fine. But anything that's like under the hood, sending information to some third world country for some hacker to do who knows what with, yeah, obviously those things need to be found and appropriately blocked.
And I think
And
signing
yeah.
is probably their quick and easy way to say 10 million apps, let's find all the bad ones.
Yeah, I can understand if you were to tell me that it's an overwhelming job for Google to do that. I could believe it.
But here's the
But
thing.
there's where AI comes in and can make Google's job easier.
Google, now this is coming from TechSpot. They say Google also confirmed that identification will not come with an official review of an app's content or functionality. So I don't even think they're going through the apps necessarily and looking for malicious content.
Not yet.
Whenever someone has to subscribe for that Google ID or whatever it is. So I think I just don't see the point of it yet. If that is what they're trying to say, is we're trying to stop malware, but then if you're not actually going to scan the app when you give someone a developer ID, then what are you accomplishing, right?
It's going to tag and track every user on the system that's originating content to make sure that they can trace back and see who has also created other apps on the system. So if one is found to have malware, now you can find the 24 other things that they've written
Yeah.
or contributed to.
Well,
I can kind of
I
see
would-
where they're coming from. But I'm with you. I mean, we should be able to dabble and create without having to go through all the hoops.
right, and that's the other thing that I see is like, do whatever you want on the Google Play Store. Like, please, by all means, do what you need to do to make sure malware isn't found there, because that's where people are going to download apps.
Mhm.
Anyone that's doing sideloading has either found themselves very much hoodwinked by some web page online to get them to sideload some app, or they know what they're doing and they should know that risk, right? So like, stay out of my sandbox. Let me do what I want here. If I want to go to Google Play Store, then I would hope you would do these things, which is what they say they already do to a point, right?
I think we could say it simply. This is going to stifle innovation. The
Yeah.
kids in high school that are dabbling with coding, it's another barrier for them to have to overcome in that 45-minute class period. And now they've got to wait for days, and then somebody's got to prove. And so by the time every bit of everything that they're trying to accomplish, half the quarter is gone, and they're on to another project, or they don't have time to finish the project they're starting.
You actually make a great point with the education there, right? Imagine you have a coding class and it's for mobile applications, right? I mean, the best way to teach that is to have somebody create a mobile app, right? And then if you add that verification there, well, say someone creates a mobile app and accidentally, I mean, they're learning and they accidentally code up something that would be considered malware, right? Well, now they've just been flagged.
Well, I mean, the first thing you learn in some of the coding classes is how to write a virus.
It's
So you
true.
understand how they behave, how they respond, how to watch out for it, how to not accidentally do it when you're coding things.
Mm-hmm. How to not accidentally spam, Amazon and get your IP blocked when you're doing a web crawler.
Again,
Well, you wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Jackson?
No idea.
some people make mistakes that affect themselves, others affect the entire university. But Well, it's I do like this conversation. Unfortunately, we can't get to the Winrar piece. We're at our bottom of the hour. Punchline is, guys, Winrar. There's some updates. There's some 0 days. The updates fix the 0 days. But you got to make sure it's not just the app that's updated. You got to get all the DLLs on the inside of the computer updated too, because other applications on the computer will use the DLLs to decode, not the EXE. Do a comprehensive upgrade of WinRAR. There's some real bad things out there right now. Active
Hey John,
exploits.
if I'm not technically in the know-how and I don't even know what a DLL is, what would you say to somebody like that? What's the best course of action? Do they just uninstall and reinstall from their website,
I-
or what's the best way to do that? Or is it going to take some advanced knowledge to fix those
It's
DLLs?
don't open RAR files. Like if you don't have the skills, I'd say stay away from the RAR files. Somebody sends you a RAR file, don't open it. But run the updates, and then all the other tools on your computer that need RAR, they'll eventually catch up because these 0 days are pretty big.
Good to know.
Anyways,
I mean,
let's see how big they get, and then if we need to, we'll cover it next time. But until then, I'm John.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jackson.
I have cheese.
I got nothing to do with that. You stumped me. Congratulations,
Okay.
Artie. You ended the podcast on a fantastic note. I'm stumped.